right, so today we're gonna work on some weightlifting. I am going to do, well, Pat's gonna do it with me. It was his idea. I'm gonna blame him if it goes south. Just kidding, I agreed to it. So we're gonna do clean and jerk EMOM. So I really need to work on cycling a barbell as it gets past that comfortable range for myself. So we're gonna pick heavy grace weight, I think. We're gonna build up and see how that feels. And then the goal is gonna be to do a 10-minute EMOM of 3 clean and jerks, touch and go. So equivalent, it equals heavy grace, but it's just broken up in chunks so I can focus on specific pieces and not just worried about getting all 30 out of the way. So I'm gonna start with my typical barbell warm up. So for clean and jerks, I like to warm the clean up first and then I warm the jerk up. So my hands are gonna be about a thumb's width distance from the outside of my thighs. I'm gonna hook grip. So what that means, thumb around the bar, fingers over your thumb. That's why I tape my thumbs so it doesn't hurt. From here, knuckles turned down, shoulders pulled back and down. I like to start with RDLs. So I'm gonna go 8 RDLs, soften in my knees, slow, controlled, drive through the floor, squeeze my butt. So I'm pushing my hips back, driving and squeezing. So in a clean, we pull from the floor. So I wanna make sure that my hamstrings, my glutes, everything are ready to fire. Good. Next, I like to do a muscle clean and a press. So I'm gonna go muscle clean from my knee, turn over, strict press. I'll do 5 of those. Here on the muscle clean, I'm just focusing on fast elbows. Good. Next, I'm gonna take it into a power clean. So you're gonna notice I punch under the bar this time. I'm gonna stay above my knee, still focusing on my hang position. This time I'm gonna push press. Push press, I'm priming my dip and drive for my jerk. Good. Next, I'm gonna go tall clean into a split jerk. So what's gonna happen, come onto my toes, think about punching under quick. Then I'll set it down, take a break, and I'm gonna drill a few more technical points on the jerk before I start to add some weight. We decided we're gonna try to get 3 in the minute. The goal is gonna at least be 2 touch and go. If we have to drop a quick reset into 1, but ideally 3 touch and go. Still gonna shoot for our 225, 155. So a couple of things I like to think about on the clean are definitely using my legs. So I like to push the floor away and I don't just wanna be ripping it off with my back. Then from there, on a power clean, it's okay to push your hips back and keep your chest tall instead of getting into this wide starfish position. So we want to avoid this position and we want to think about when we're catching, our feet just pop out and our belly is nice and strong. So the worst thing that can happen is I get pushed into a squat instead of being in this awkward starfish position where it's not good on my knees. So definitely something to keep in mind when you power clean, making sure you're not getting too wide. The next thing you'll probably notice is when I come down from overhead, so I don't come to my shoulders, but I skip my shoulders and I like to skim my thighs just to slow the bar down just a tiny bit. You'll still see some people go straight from the top to the ground. I will do that on a much lighter weight, but for me, 155 barbell cycling starts to get a little bit heavier and I don't feel comfortable when I go straight down. It pulls me really far forward, so I'm out of position for my next clean. So I'll skim my thighs, making sure that I'm pushing my hips back. So as soon as the bar hits the ground, I'm in a loaded position to immediately go right into my next rep. Lots of questions from my snatch video. I talked about turning your knuckles down. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna immediately keep the bar closer. So if I'm pulling up and my knuckles are down, it's staying nice and tight to my body and it's gonna fire my lats. If my knuckles are away as I'm pulling up, the bar is immediately gonna start to float away from my body. So you'll see me get my hands on the bar. I go about a thumb's width distance from where the rough meets the smooth every single time. I'm gonna hook grip my bar, get set, turn my knuckles down. And lift.
It's certainly not for everybody, and it's probably not recommended but I've got a little bit of an early arm bend, which leads to an early pull.
A little bit?
A little bit sometimes, especially we're doing sets of 3 touch and go here. If I get out of position on my 3rd, it would get pretty egregious. I could tell, so I'm sure visually it was even worse. But for me, I like to pull it to my hips and try to just get underneath quick, whether I'm power cleaning or squat cleaning. And the other thing that I do that kind of makes it at least acceptable is that I more or less start with the early arm bend. So I'm not starting with straight arms, then yanking and putting a bunch of tension on my bicep. I start kind of, that creates the tension for me, right or wrong, but at least I start in that position and just kind of continue it throughout the lift. We just don't want to be putting extra tension or an aggressive pull on the bicep halfway through the lift. So it's just kind of how I've made it work for me.
I've tried to coach him on it. It's been his habit for 10+ years. Ideally, when you go and they're coaching, you want to keep your arms as straight as possible for as long as possible coming off the floor, so you use your legs and you don't put that tension in your biceps. But whatever works for you, as long as you can stay safe and stay healthy. So now we're going to build to a heavy single clean and jerk. When I say heavy single, again, it goes along with maxing. I don't typically max often. If I get to a heavier percentage, I like to try to get to my 90% consistently and feel good with that. If I get to 90%, I'm like, wow, it doesn't even feel like there's weight on the bar, then those are the days that I will challenge myself and I'll keep building up. But I always like to end with that felt really good, I'll come back next time, versus just trying to get a certain number and killing myself or fighting bad positions to get to that number that day. So I think that's something to remember is just build to a heavy, and you don't always have to max out, and focus on one thing, get a takeaway, and then come back the next day and just keep chipping away and working on it. Pretty good, pretty happy with it. I think I worked up to 98%. So, and I didn't eat enough today. So I was a little shaky. So you saw me grab my shake, that's why. So I don't typically like to do like the intra-workout carbs and stuff, but I always keep one in my bag just in case, because I've been on the go. I did this straight after coaching. And if you're somebody like that where you have a busy schedule, I think it's super important to make sure you have a fast carb. So I resort to the first form. I love it. It's the ignition, and then I have chocolate milkshake protein in here. And literally after one of my lifts, I knew I had more in me, but I started to feel like I was getting a little shaky, and it's more just that I'm hungry. And so this quick carb, whether it makes a difference actually or whether it's just mental, it just makes me feel better and like I'm shaking less if I'll just take an extra couple minutes, have a couple sips, and then get back to my lifting. So definitely keep something like that in your bag. It's super helpful. So I did miss, and I was frustrated because I went to dip and jerk the bar and I just didn't do it. Like I just didn't even try. And for me it was mental. It's like I'm scared of the bar. And so typically when I feel like that, I'm like, oh, it's done. I'm happy with what I got to. But what I'm working on is trying to push myself past that comfort zone. I knew it was there and I could taste it, I could feel it. So it's like, okay, don't let your mind get in the way. Like it's all up here, it's between the ears. How can you quiet what's happening between your ears? Just shut up and make your body do it. And then I did make the lift and it felt really good. It actually felt like one of my best lifts, and it leaves me feeling confident and hungry for more. So I think it's really important to just step back and evaluate, like, is it my physical capabilities? Is something hurting? Am I tired? Is it just not there today? Or if you know it's there and it's the chatter between your ears, learning how to kind of silence that and push yourself past your comfort zone. So that's definitely something in training that we're working on as well. Is I tend to back away and I tend to be a very conservative athlete. It's like I'm a little bit afraid of failure, but in training, the place to practice failure is training. So don't be scared to fail. It's how you learn. So that's it for our clean day today. It was a really fun day. It's fun to throw in some barbell cycling. We don't do that all the time because the barbell can beat you up, but it's definitely something you want to have in your training program. I hope you enjoyed some of the tips we gave you. Remember, hook grip always if you can. So get your thumb and then as many fingers over your thumb as you can. As soon as your hands are on the bar, you turn your knuckles down to make sure we're keeping our lats engaged, keeping the bar nice and tight, and ideally keeping our arms as straight as possible for as long as possible so we can use our legs to send the bar weightless in the air so we have time to get under it. Try to avoid that early arm bend like Patrick has. A few other tips that I just wanted to share with you that really helped me were, especially when coaching, number one thing I see is the bar is usually starting over people's toes, okay? So when they come down, there's already this space between their shin and the bar. So what's happening is as they pull, the bar's wanting to pull them forward and it's a lot of stress on the lower back. So the first thing you should do is make sure the bar is sitting, like I have a strap on my shoe or where your shoelace would be tied. As soon as we put our hands on it, we pull it back so it's directly over the knot of our shoelace. Then from there, hook grip. So thumb around the bar, fingers over, knuckles down. And when I pull, I should think about not being relaxed in my upper back, but almost like I'm trying to rip the bar off the floor. So you can hear that little bit of a jingle. So again, one more time. Like I'm trying to pull the bar, it's just not moving. So now my hamstrings are engaged, my glutes are ready to fire, my lats are tight, my upper back's tight, and my midline's tight. So now I'm set, I'm ready to pull the barbell. The final piece, try not to look down. Make sure to pull your eyes up so we can keep the bar nice and close as we're cleaning the barbell. I hope a couple of these tips will hopefully help you get a nice good PR next time you're in the gym. Try them out, comment below, let us know what you liked, what you'd like to see more of, and we look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Have a good day.